So Realme has recently launched their two newest smartphones here in the country, and these are the Realme 10 Pro 5G and the Realme 10 Pro Plus 5G. And today we got here the cheaper variant, the Realme 10 Pro 5G. So what we can expect from this smartphone is a 108 megapixel Pro Light camera along with its 2 megapixel depth camera. We also got here a Qualcomm Snapdragon 695 processor, and of course there's the 6.7-inch IPS display with 120Hz refresh rate, and what's so special about it is that we got here some minimal bezels. But before we get down to our review, let me introduce myself first. I am Jam of jamonline.ph, and you already know that because you're watching this video. And today, we're gonna review the Realme 10 Pro 5G. And yes, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Alright, first things first. Dito muna tayo sa display ng Realme 10 Pro 5G. As you can see in here, we got here the 6.7-inch Full HD Plus IPS display. I was actually disappointed that they are still using the IPS panel on this one, but it's nice to see that we got here 120Hz refresh rate. But of course, the difference between an AMOLED panel and the IPS panel of this one is very big talaga. Malayo talaga yung difference when it comes to the quality. But this one will do just fine whatever you want to use it. As long as siguro na casual user lang kayo, if you're the type of person who wants to use, you know, your smartphone for basic tasks, for basic applications, for casual games, and you're not really into the display, then the 120Hz AMOLED or the 90Hz AMOLED might not affect you at all. The IPS 120Hz will be just fine for you. Alright, so I really want to emphasize this one. We got here some really thin bezels here on the side of the smartphone, and of course, we still got here the chin. But as you can see in here, the bezels on the side, the top and the sides, is really minimal on this smartphone. They call it the boundless display. And the chin, it's not that bad, alright? It's not that bad, but yeah, that one is noticeable. So, if you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, you probably have seen my photo before that I've shared that I've hidden the Realme 10 Pro or the 10 Pro Plus 5G amongst the background. It is a really cool photo, but yeah, the minimal bezels on this one adds to the sexiness of the smartphone. But of course, for those people who are technical, you're probably technical. Most of you that are watching right now are very nitty-gritty about the details about the display of the smartphone. Well, all I can say is that this one is for aesthetics. This one is for the people who wants to have a really sexy and a beautiful smartphone. So yeah, they might appreciate the boundless display of this one. Now, let's get into the build of the smartphone. Alright, so for the build quality of the Realme 10 Pro 5G, as you can see in here, we got here the dark matter color. And as you can see in the camera right now, there's some, you know, reflection, there's some, you know, parang glitters, yung dating ng back niya. And it's a really nice, okay? It's really nice, not that bad, but it's not made up of glass. Some of you might think, okay, might be glass. No, it's not. It's plastic. The feel of it, however, is kind of good for a plastic. It doesn't feel like glass. You already know that it's plastic once you hold it, but does look fine. Anyway, magki-case naman kayo eh. Most of you are probably using the included case with a smartphone. But yeah, it's not glass. That's why the smartphone is also lightweight, and the frame of this one is actually flat. As you can see, the frame of the smartphone is flat, and again, plastic means it's lighter, and it also means that it doesn't feel as premium as metal. And in my experience, I dropped the smartphone a few times, and yeah, meron akong maliit, very minimal, even though nalaglag ko siya sa spalto na medyo mataas siya at my shoulder level. And surprisingly, didn't, you know, get a really big na dent talaga. Actually, hindi ko nga maalala kung nasan kasi hindi ko na halos makita. Matibay yung pagka-plastic niya. So, for the solidness and toughness, I believe this one is quite good naman pagdating sa ganong quality. But again, having that plastic flat frame doesn't feel premium at all. But again, sabi ko nga kanina, you might be using the jelly case included on the smartphone once you get the Realme 10 Pro Plus or the Realme 10 Pro 5G rather. When it comes to the ergonomics, I'm using it like this, okay? Typing, Facebook, Instagram, and the flat frame of the smartphone isn't its best feel. I still prefer having a curved back on the sides, and the Realme Pro Plus version offers that. Pero itong sa Realme 10 Pro, fortunately, flat back and flat sides. But again, you might be using the case naman. So, added protection and better ergonomics. For the back, as you can see, this one is very similar dun sa Realme 10 nandito over here na na-review natin before. Two circles over here, one is a 108 megapixel, one is a 2 megapixel camera. Actually, I like that it's simpler. Not much circles sa likod that are probably useless. So these two are, really nice to see. May protruding tayo dito, yes. But once you place it sa flat surface, it wouldn't matter naman. Hindi naman ganun kakapal masyado yung protruding camera. But yeah, does give you a feel na meron siyang talagang priority dito sa rear camera smartphone because that is the only thing talaga na naiiba dito sa likod. So, nothing really special about the back design, nothing really fancy about it. But yeah, it's clean and it's nice for me. But of course, that is subjective. Some of you might feel that it's not good, it's too generic, it's too simple, kamukha siya ng ibang smartphone. That's true in some aspects, but for me, I like the clean look of this smartphone along with the dark matter color. Alright, so of course we're done with the design. Let's talk about the ports that we have here. So for the port, we got here the USB-C and it supports the 33-watt Super VOOC charging. And of course, we got here yung ating headphone jack and also the speaker grill. So this means that sa mga tao na mahilig pa rin gumamit ng kanilang wired headphones or they're still using their speakers that doesn't have Bluetooth, they're still relying on 3.5mm, you would appreciate that one. It's nice to have na feature dito. And yes, it's USB Type-C, so most of you probably using USB Type-C and I still suggest na, okay, gamitin yung included doon na charger doon sa box. Some of you are not using it. I don't know why. But use it because this one supports 33-watt Super VOOC charger para mas mabilis din yung charging nyo. On the right side, we got here the power button that also serves as the fingerprint scanner and also the volume rocker. Honestly, wala man akong problema sa reachability ng kanyang power button and also the volume rocker. So, okay lang ako sa kanya. When it comes to battery life, again, the smartphone comes with a Snapdragon 695 processor and then there's the 5,000 mAh of battery. Charging it, less than an hour or an hour siguro, depende sa kung ginagamit yung smartphone. But yeah, the 33 watts charger for me is fine, but I wish it was faster. I wish it was better. There were previous smartphones by Realme na mas mabilis yung kanyang charging speeds. But yeah, 33 watts is just the average for me. Siguro yun yung minimum sa akin, 33 watts. So we tested the smartphone with PCMark Work 2.0 battery test and we got a score of 13 hours and 35 minutes. So pretty good for a 5,000 mAh na battery ng isang smartphone. One of the factors that really help on that one is, of course, yung kanyang processor, which is Qualcomm Snapdragon 695 processor. It is stable. In my experience, yes, it isn't the most powerful, but in the long run, it is stable. It is consistent when it comes sa kanyang FPS. It is consistent pagdating sa kanyang FPS and also sa kanyang battery life. So, 13 hours and 35 minutes, not excellent, but not bad either. Nandun tayo siguro sa great. Alright, so now let's talk about the software and the performance of the smartphone. So the Realme 10 Pro 5G comes with Realme UI 4.0 that is based on Android 13. And as expected, it's fast, it is swift, and of course, combined with a 120Hz display na meron tayo dito sa smartphone, it is something na ma-appreciate nyo na, wow, okay, sarap gamitin, ang bilis, ganon. But of course, if you're the techie type of person, you're really getting into the minor details talaga. You're really into getting the full experience ng smartphone na to. So, kamusta nga ba dito si Realme 10 Pro 5G? For the software naman, sobrang smooth naman. And actually, if you want to extend the RAM, which probably you wouldn't even feel, you can extend the 8 gigs of RAM of the smartphone for, an additional na 8 gigs pa that is getting from your main storage, which is 256 gigs of storage. So the variant that we got in here is 8 plus 256 and I really appreciate that they've used the 256 variant dito sa Pilipinas. So you get more storage for your videos, for your games, or for whatever that you want to use it for. So Realme UI 4.0 still comes with a lot of bloatware. Some of you might uninstall it and as for me, actually non-install ko iba. It isn't confusing, but it isn't also the best UI that we have in the market or on any other smartphones. So I can say naman sa inyo that the experience that I had was almost bug-free and smooth naman yung paggamit ko dito with the Realme 10 Pro 5G. Now let's get to the part where a lot of people are just really curious about. Gusto ko lang i-emphasize sa inyo na a smartphone has many parts. Hindi lang processor yung mahalaga sa kanya, okay? Alright, so Snapdragon 695 processor, 8 gigs of RAM plus 8 gigs if you want to extend it, and of course there's the 256 gigs of internal storage. In Geekbench, we got here a score of 689 and a multi-core score of 2016. In GPU score Sacred Fat, that's a score of 183, and in the Expedition, that's 425. While in 3D Mark Wildlife, we got an overall score of 1,212. Alright, so when it comes to kanyan sa kanyang benchmarks, it is what we can expect sa isang Snapdragon 695 processor na smartphone. It isn't that great, it isn't that bad either if you're using it for, you know, basic applications for casual games. So if you're planning on playing PUBG Mobile, you know, games like Mobile Legends, games like, you know, the really light games, that wouldn't be a problem dito sa Realme 10 Pro 5G. But of course, you have to set your expectations lower. You need to set it at low to medium settings para ma-enjoy nyo tong mga games na to at a higher frames. And again, we do not have here 120Hz AMOLED display, so we're stuck at 60 frames and below pagdating sa kanyang gaming, which isn't that bad. There are only a few games that supports more than 60 frames per second. And the processor isn't the most powerful or isn't, you know, the ideal one when it comes to gaming. So don't expect too much from it when it comes to gaming. But what I like about it is that the consistency of the performance despite using it for, you know, an hour or longer minutes talaga, and of course yung kanyang conservation sa battery, and of course yung kanyang temperature. So I've noticed that it gets warm, yes, na-notice ko na umiinit siya, pero hindi siya umiinit to the point na mainit siya. Nandun lang siya sa warm level, okay? So pag naglalaro kayo, even with the case on, I actually use the case, it doesn't get to the point na sobrang init ng smartphone. So when it comes talaga to consistency and the temperatures, I'm actually fine with the Snapdragon 695 processor. And you might compare it with the Helio G99, I believe, or some other smartphones na nando sa MediaTek. And compared to sa competition, I've noticed na mas maganda yung temperature control talaga dito with the 695. It might not be the most ideal one when it comes to GPU. It might not be the ideal one when it comes to, you know, the graphics and the FPS. But it is stable and it is consistent. Hindi lang sa relationship yun, pati doon sa processor. Alright, so time to go naman dun sa kanyang camera. Again, not much to say pagdating sa specifications niya because we got here 108 megapixel Pro Light camera and also a 2 megapixel depth camera at the back of the smartphone. For the selfie camera, that is a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Alright, so based on our experience with the previous Realme smartphones, the lower variant dun sa Pro series, the Pro version, which is basically this and the Realme 9 Pro, we tend to notice na, okay, yung camera quality niya is malayo talaga dun sa Pro Plus version. But ang hindi fine sa akin is that we do not have here an ultra-wide camera. Yes! 2 lenses, no ultra-wide. That is a big disappointment for a smartphone that focuses on the new display and also do sa kanyang 108 megapixel camera. And speaking of 108 megapixel, it comes with a Samsung HM6 sensor. In most of our shots, we've noticed that, okay, night shots are quite decent naman dito sa smartphone. It's a big upgrade when it comes to night shots. It's brighter, it's better, the colors are a lot better compared to the predecessor. And na-notice ko naman na most of the shots that we took are brighter kaysa dun sa other smartphones na na-review din natin with the same processor and almost the same level. But it isn't the ideal one pa din pagdating sa kanyang shots. Sometimes I've noticed na medyo kulang ako dun sa kanyang colors, minsan kulang sa kanyang contrast. It's a hit and miss actually. Sometimes may okay, sometimes may hindi. And the dynamic range of the smartphone actually needs some work. So hopefully, software update could update the camera of the smartphone pagdating do sa kanyang 108 megapixel camera. While the selfie camera of the smartphone is a big upgrade compared to sa previous generation. We get here, you know, more details, better colors, and even at low light, nakakuha ko dito naman sa okay na selfie. So, you know, sa selfie camera, siguro ma-appreciate nyo siya. But other than that, I'm not sure. So overall, yung kanyang rear camera, it's a hit and miss. The selfie camera is an upgrade. And if you're really looking into the camera talaga ng isang smartphone, siguro go for the Pro Plus na lang. So magdagdag lang kayo ng konti, 3,000 pesos. I know that's big, pero malaki yung difference yan when it comes to camera quality talaga, the Pro versus the Pro Plus. So I'm not really a fan of the camera neto pagdating sa decent lighting conditions. I was expecting a lot more from this one, but at low light, well, it is a big improvement. So I guess that's it dito sa ating review ng Realme 10 Pro 5G. We got here really nice design. It's made of plastic, yes, but it's solid. It's nice. The display of the smartphone, the bezel-less look, I actually love that. And then, of course, there's the consistent naman na battery dito sa smartphone, which is pretty good. Consistent naman ng Realme pagdating sa kanyang battery. As for the performance, well, it's a Snapdragon 695. Not meant for gaming, but it can do games like Genshin Impact or whatever that you want. Walang problema dito sa smartphone na to. But of course, set your expectations to low to medium settings. And for the camera, well, I was disappointed na wala tayong ultra-wide camera dito. The night shots were better, but it isn't the best one, of course. Doon talaga sila nag-focus siguro doon sa night shots, which is a better talaga na experience or results na nakuha natin dito. The selfie camera was quite good, which is great sa mga mahilig mag-post ng stories ng kanilang mga selfies. So, overall, para sa akin, siguro if you really want the smartphone, magdagdag kayo ng konti, get the Pro Plus version. You get the curved display, the curved back, a better camera, better processor, better overall for another a few thousand pesos. Okay? Mas sulit yon for me. Get the Pro Plus instead. Siguro itong smartphone na to para to sa mga tao na okay, I just need a smartphone at this price range na maganda, yung display, bezel-less, what I mean, not the AMOLED one. Something that works, something that, okay, I can use it for selfies, I can use it for social media. Yeah, this one will be just fine if you're just, casual user or for basic usage lang talaga yung smartphone nyo. But if you're really into, heavier the gaming, you want more performance, you want a better camera, just add a few thousands more and get the Plus or the Pro Plus 5G version rather. So hey guys, that's it dito sa ating video review ng Realme 10 Pro 5G. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us thumbs up. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and be sure to click that subscribe button along with that bell button to get notified of our latest videos here in my YouTube channel. So once again, I am Jam of jamonline.ph. Thank you for watching and see you guys again sa susunod na video.